This video is my entry for Emma Spareroom Rough Cut 2022. This time the goal is to make a cutting tool, and I think it's a brilliant idea. So maybe I could make a knife, but I have one, or a pirate sword, but I have one, or a high-speed steel cutter for the lathe, but I have a whole collection. Or maybe a diamond tool holder, because I don't have one and I never made one in my life. The basic idea of the diamond tool holder is that you use a piece of high-speed steel this way. This is the workpiece in the lathe, spinning around, the tool holder, and here comes the high-speed steel. And the top part will be the rake. So to adjust the height, all you have to do is put the high-speed steel at the right height. To regrind the zwik, all you have to do is regrind the top surface. I've seen online some very interesting tool holders and designs and ideas, but I would like to keep it as simple as possible. One part and one bolt that comes right here somewhere to keep the high-speed steel in place. I have a magnificent piece of material here, and I will use the shaper. For this kind of applications, the shaper is much faster than the milling machine. Total length here 100 millimeter. We take in account 15 millimeter before and 5 millimeter after the cut. Total stroke length 120. Check here. 120 at 20 meters a minute. We will set the machine at 100 strokes a minute. Take some cigarette papers. Good. Dial in 1 millimeter. Let's go for it. Don't you just love the smell of freshly cut steel in the morning? Fantastic. block is now squared up, except for the two top sides, but for the moment it's not important at all. The idea is of course that this part comes here in the tool post, and I'm gonna make a cutout here so that the tool will stick out a little bit more. Let's take a tool. As you can see, I have here a brand new high-speed steel blank. Even smells like new. This one will come here. Oh, it's too long. That's okay, I will cut it in two. Comes here. And after a little bit of measuring and testing, I figured out that the ideal should be normally 15 degrees this side and 15 degrees that side. Of course, if you combine two angles on a machine, you have to compensate because it will give a rotation on the tool. And this rotation, after a very crude measurement, I determined that it's 4 degrees. If I want to cut out this slot that will hold, of course, the high-speed steel here on the shaper, which is perfectly possible, of course, I have to set my workpiece like this. Lean it back 15 degrees. Give it a twist of also 15 degrees. And compensate for 4 degrees. I think the best way to do this is using angle blocks and a sine plate. Or else maybe I have a better solution. Blocks and a sine plate and FP1 to hold my 10mm square high-speed steel. I need to cut a 10mm slot here in my part, so I will use a 10mm cutter. I hope that makes sense. Before I start cutting the slot, I will first create a flat surface right here so that the bolt will hold on a horizontal. That will be much better. Yes. Alright, and this is more or less the idea. Of course the high-speed steel thing here is way too long, but I suppose you got a point. Now that I see that it fits and it could work, maybe it's time to cut out this part of material that I don't need, that I already marked here. All this got to go. An ideal machine to do this is of course the shaper. Cutting speed 10 meters a minute. Not even half of what I need, but no choice. Machine is running at 160 strokes a minute. Step over 2/10 of a millimeter. And as you can see, I used a little form tool to make this radius here, and it worked. And if you're wondering why there's a little cutout here, this is what happens when you dial in 12 instead of 2. Doesn't give the same result. The tool holder is now complete. As you can see, it holds the high-speed steel very well. And I cut off this back corner just to have a little bit more clearance when I use the live center, outlet center of course. So of course the idea is that this thing comes here. Now I have to find a way to grind this top surface. And I think the best way to do this, come out. I have here a little V-block. The groove in here is of course parallel with the bottom surface. And to be good, to hold my high-speed steel, it should lean back 10 degrees. It's marked here. To cut the groove here in the shaper, which is perfectly possible of course, I think the easiest way is to hold it at 45 degrees in the vise and then tilt the vise 10 degrees. Combined angle of course, so I have to compensate and then cut as if it is a right shoulder. But maybe I have a better solution. The FP1. This groove will be deeper than the jaws, which means while cutting I will cut here in the jaws, but that's not really a big issue because I have 12mm stick out here, which is in fact too much. So after cutting in the jaws I will clean them up again and let's go for it. I'm not gonna use this piece of high-speed steel. I have a much shorter one. This will be much better. Right, let's grind. Tool hole in place, diamond in place, time for test cut number 1. I don't know what steel this is, and I always have a hard time having a nice finish on this. But with my diamond, it works. Of course there's some rusty holes in here, but it works. Let's try a face cut. Yes, I have to adjust the height a little bit, but it works. First of all, I want to thank Emma, who puts all this Rough Cut 2022 together. About every year she comes up with something new where everyone can participate. So Emma, thank you very much. We all have always lots of fun participating in this. And making tool holders is great fun. And I'm absolutely convinced you don't need a decal to make this kind of tool holders. To make the slot, if you don't have the right tooling, just drill a hole and find it out by hand. It won't be too much work, and this is the result. And as you see, it works. And don't forget to click on the link marked in blue below this video. It will give you the list of all other participants in Rough Cut 2022. Have a nice visit.